What fun you're about to have.
Okay, as a quick disclaimer before starting this video, these are my suggestions, my opinions, and just for you to know, I am not a big-time Mythic Raider. I'm normally not into big Mythic Plus keys. I am a very casual player. I normally see some of the heroic content, just not real hardcore. So if you're looking for, the best information, I'm not the guy. However, I do hope you enjoy. Alright, for your level 15 talents, I would seriously go with Brambles, but you also have other options. Bristling Fur, causing you to generate rage based on damage taken. I would only take Bristling Fur or Blood Frenzy if you're having rage issues. There's Tiger Dash. You shift into cat form, increase your movement speed by 200% and reducing gradually over 5 seconds. Renewal heals you for 30% and Wild Charge. Now for this tier, I'm still going to pick Wild Charge. As tanking Guardian Druid, I want to be able to charge into my enemy. Now, if you're an off tank, the charge works very well for you, but also the Tiger Dash, if you're going to be in like a raid battle or a Mythic Plus battle that you're going to need to get somewhere quickly, like in a raid, you're going to need to pick up an ad. This could be a good option, but I'm still going to choose Charge over Tiger's Dash. Alright, level 30. Of course, you still have your Balanced, your Feral, and your Restoration affinities. Your Balanced gives you those abilities, as well as increasing the range of all of your abilities by 3 yards. This should increase how far you could charge into something, but I don't see 3 yards being a game changer. Now, unless you're going to off tank and take Heart of the Wild in the next tier, I don't see Balance or Feral being real huge here, at least in my opinion. Feral more so than Balance. As increase your movement speed, you get to run a little quicker, you get to move out of things a little sooner. But to take something like Feral Affinity, you already have agility on, you hit Heart of the Wild, go Kitty, main tank has the aggro, you can try to pump up some damage if there's no cleave damage in the boss fight. But ultimately for Guardian, even though it's just healing, my entire idea whenever I'm setting up my Guardian Druid is I want to take as little damage as possible. And any mitigation that I don't have to click something to mitigate with, the better, because it's less thinking on my part, and I can worry about my Iron Furs as needed, my bark skins during those hard moments, and maybe, just maybe, allow my healer to be able to concentrate on anybody else that may be standing in the fire. Now in level 35, they've brought back Heart of the Wild, and this right here allows you to use your associated affinity, the ones above, to empower them for 45 seconds. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This is where I feel Feral or Balance could be picked if you're going to be an off tank and you're trying to pump up the damage. And you could also use this as in the resto if you believe you're going to need more healing later in the fight. I really don't see that being a big, choice. It's not something I'm going to go with, but it's there. Mass Entanglement, still there, roots the target and all enemies within 15 yards in 30 seconds. Of course, any damage may interrupt the effect. I still see this as only as like a PvP type spell, maybe very situational in Mythic Plus. And of course, the one I almost always go with, at least in this tier, is going to be Mighty Bash. I like having that little extra interrupt, and that's basically what I use it for, is an interrupt. This right here is your go-to if something comes up and you can't skull bash it. You can normally, not so much on raid bosses, but on certain trash mobs and some dungeon bosses, you can use Mighty Bash and it will stun the boss during a uninterruptible spellcast. And now you've interrupted it. You've stopped something. You've, gave a little bit more time before this massive hit or big AoE or a heal even. And I really love Mighty Bash for that reason. Alright, and your level 40 talent section. You got Soul of the Forest. Mango generates 5 more rage and deals 25% more damage. I put this as one of like the main tank items because you are looking to do as much damage as you can because you're looking to build threat. It generates 5 rage for every time you use Mangle. Well, more rage is more threat. More rage is also more damage, and damage is threat. There's Galactic Guardian. This is where you get your free Moonfire. The Moonfire does more damage, but it also generates 8 more rage. That's a 5% chance. This one right here has never really felt good to me. So honestly, I've really just kind of looked this one over, but I could kind of see in this as being if you need a ranged, it's just too situational and you're really RNG on being able to use it. I don't see anyone picking this. This would not be my choice. Alright, so the Guardian of Ursoc option. Improved Bear Form grants you benefits of Berserk. This will take the place of Berserk. Causes Mangle to hit up to 3 targets and increase your maximum health by 30%. It lasts 30 seconds. Now you can jump in and out of it. I don't see why you would want to. You would want the full 30 seconds. But this right here is also a very good one. Now I feel like this right here is more of, but this right here is if there's going to be more than one target in a fight. So this may be more Mythic Plus targeted, but then again, it's a 3-minute cooldown. So to me, this is boss fights with adds, and you're trying to really spread that damage out. Otherwise, Soul of the Forest kind of wins out in a all-around. It's also, you don't have to click it, and it's also a passive compared to Guardian of Ursoc. However, a lot of raid bosses do have either adds or a second and even third boss. And if you can have them close together, this could really pay off. And this is also a good way to get threat on more than one target right off the bat. Alright, in the level 45 tier, we're looking at Earth Warden. Whenever you deal direct damage with Thrash, you gain a charge of Earth Warden, reducing the damage of the next auto attack you take by 30%. And this may stack up to 3 charges. I like this one. This one's passive. I enjoy passive abilities as a tank. Druids are a little bit lackluster on rotation. So to pick something that you get to click is actually not all that bad. It gives you something more to do, something to look forward to. Survival of the Fittest. This reduces the cooldown of Bark Skin and Survival Instincts by 33%. I see this as a pretty good raid boss fights. If you know you're about to go into a boss fight, maybe you're under geared, maybe this is your first clearing of the raid, your first time working through, and you know that you need a lot more, basically a lot more bark skins throughout the fight, which is where I'll probably let you use bark skin 1, maybe 2 more times than normal. This would be a very good option. And then, like I said, if you're under geared, you really kind of want that bark skin, and your healers probably want you to have it as well. Now, Guardian of Loon. I really like this one. I really think of these 3 options, this right here is number 1 for me, even though it does say passive. Now, this is passively does it, but this right here changes what you do. This right here makes you go, okay, I need to cast this before I do this, because it makes everything just better. Mangle increases the duration of your next Iron Fur by 2 seconds, or the healing of your next Frenzied Regeneration by 20%. So anytime when you know, okay, I go out to hit an Iron Fur or a regeneration, let me make sure I time this Mangle to hit there and go the other way. This way helps out your healers. Iron Fur lasts 2 seconds longer, which is a little bit less damage you take for a longer period of time. And of course, if you decide to use regeneration, that's 20% more healing to yourself, which is a big help in mitigating damage. This is my favorite of these 3. I also have nothing against the other 2, as well as Earth Warden being a very good option as well. Alright, in the final tier, you have Rend and Tear. Each stack of Thrash reduces the target's damage to you by 2% and increases your damage to them by 2%. This is a good all-around option, but keep in mind this is only 6% damage reduction because it's normally very easy to keep 3 stacks of Thrash on your targets. And if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked into it fully, but there is a legendary, I believe, later on that allows you to have a 4th Thrash. This could be where that really comes in. But if you don't want to have to think about it, you don't want to have to worry about it, this right here is the easy mode option of this tier. Alright, so here's Tooth and Claw. Auto attacks have a 20% chance to empower your next Maul, stacking up to 2 times. Empowered Maul deals 40% increased damage and reduces the target's damage to you by 15% for 6 seconds. Now I know that in BFA, Maul, I really only clicked Maul because it was the only one available to click that was on some kind of cooldown, and honestly it pushed back me clicking my Mangle later, which I believe lowered my damage overall. However, if the timing's right, if this triggers enough, because this is a 20% chance on your auto attacks, I feel like this is the best one of the three on this tier overall. Now, like I said, Ren and Tear is going to be great, but you're looking at 6% damage reduction. But that's the whole time, presumably the whole time. And once you add in your bark skin for a battle, iron furs as you're going through the fight, you're going to be continuously hitting that. Those are very good. But Tooth and Claw, I really feel is the best one of these three options. However, it is a bit RNG-ish, and we just have to kind of get past that. But there would be my choice for this one. And there's still one last option. Alright, so Pulverize. This one is an actual attack. Devastating blow that consumes 2 stacks of your thrash on the target that deals physical damage. Reduces the damage they deal to you by 20% for 10 seconds. Now this is a lot of percent. 20% is a lot of damage reduction. 10 seconds is actually a long time. However, this is a 30-second cooldown. So for 20 seconds, you don't have the 6% decrease of Rend of Terror. And I imagine in 30 seconds I should be able to hit him with Maul, let's say 3 times. That's a lot of damage you're taking for no good reason. And I tried this one and it feels horrible. Nothing feels like it stacks normally. Any other time I feel like my thrash is never on cooldown and I'm always just clicking the crap out of it. As soon as I picked this one, the longest cooldowns I've ever felt playing Guardian Druid. So I do not recommend Pulverize unless you just are dying for one more thing to click. That is it. So those are my recommendations on the talent tree for Guardian Druid. Next we're going to move to Covenant. Alright, to speed this up some, I'm only going to tell you the top 2 Covenants I believe would be great for tanking Druids. My first option is going to be Night Fae. Now the Soul Shape, now keep in mind, whenever I was looking this up online, Soul Shape said nothing about increasing your armor or your stamina. Not in the tooltips online. This is on beta. This is what it says. Now, this is something I want to state. This is considered a shapeshift. So you leave bear form. So you do not really get a benefit from the 220% or that 45% increases to your armor and stamina, except for making your new form basically your bear form. Except for you don't get to use your bear abilities because you're not in bear form anymore. So Soul Shape, signature ability, I don't see being a tanking helpful. However, this could be a good use, just like you're turning into a cat and running across a raid room and picking up an ad. This could be a better option so that you don't have to take that talent to become the cat to get across the room. This could be your other option, and this is a 1.5 minute cooldown. And with that increased armor and increased stamina, chances are you won't get one hit if for whatever reason you get hit between then and there. Now this is another one, I really feel like this works either way, off tank or main tank, but I would say mainly for a main tank, for the idea of doing a lot of damage for threat. Of course this is a build up, it is a 2-minute cooldown, but you get to use this every 2 minutes. Most boss fights, especially when you're first learning them, last more than 2 minutes. So you probably get to use this, 2-3 times in a boss fight. Call upon the Night Fae for an eruption of energy, channeling a rapid flurry of 12 Druid spells and abilities over 4 seconds. Everything I read, I've heard talked about, they normally got multiple stacks of Iron Fur, got some own self heals as a Guardian Druid. These are very big helps, but you also hit the target, and targets, it does it's supposed to hit appropriate nearby targets. And this rider would be good survivability, assisting the healers, and gaining threat. This also be, but you don't choose who gets what, and that would be the downside of it. But that's kind of part of, the RPG aspect of playing these games. Alright, in your Soulbinds, you'll get to pick someone, one of 3 options in each Covenant. And here in Night Fae, one of your first ones is Dreamweaver, and you get Pot Tender. When you take damage that would kill you, instead rejuvenate within a Wild Seed, regaining 30% of your HP over 10 seconds. If the Wild Seed takes more than 8,900 damage during this time, you die. This is not a tanking option. This would not be a tanking option. I really don't see what spec would use this. DPS maybe, but I still don't see this being one I would go for. Alright, Corian, Wild Hunt Tactics. Wait, your damage to targets above 75% health and healing to targets below 35% health is increased by 10%. Now this right here is damage to targets above 75%, and then healing to targets below 35%. When your spells abilities are enhanced this way, you gain 10% increased movement speed for 5 seconds. So this right here would be really kind of important in my opinion, because this is damage increased to targets above 75. That means the start of the fight. There's so many battles that you are trying to get a boss to a certain point really fast. Of course you want them dead, you want them at 0, but tactically speaking, you want to get them lower to a certain point so fast. And having the extra 10% damage at the start of the fight, you can build your threat table very well. Now, theoretically speaking, in the event that you dropped under 35% health, your Yrsa's gift should increase by 10% healing on yourself. Now, I don't know if that works. However, if you're not taking damage, main tank has it, you're off tanking, this also should increase on them if they drop under 35%. Alright, Nyla. Healing or dealing damage has a chance to grant you a stack of redirected anima, up to 10. Convoke the spirits, granting you 1% maximum health and 35 mastery per stack for 30 seconds. Now this is 1% maximum health. That's a health jump. Of course, I was reading this a minute ago. I believe that it can trigger 2 times a minute. I believe is what it says, approximately 2 times a minute. But that's 35 mastery per stack. Now that's up to 10, so 350 mastery. That's a lot of mastery. Mastery could be big. 1% maximum health, and of course it's any kind of help you can get. So this right here would be a very light mitigation, and it's more of you just trying to out buffer them, and also you have to get 10 stacks, and if it only triggers twice a minute, it's once every 30 seconds. You can kind of look at that as like a 30-second cooldown, and you don't really choose when it happened. Alright, so Venthyr is my second option. This is the, like I said, the top 2 covenants in my opinion for Guardian Druids, and this would be number 2. Dwarf Shadows is your signature ability from the covenant. When through the shadows appearing at the targeted location, you get to choose where you go, and of course you have 35 yard range, and it's a 1 minute cooldown. And later, looking at the Soulbinds, the conduit section, this actually could become very important to have this signature ability, where normally it looks like it's a just travel. It could become useful in my opinion. Alright, so your class ability is a Frenzy. For 15 seconds, Druid spells you cast increase your damage, healing, and haste by 2%, and this is stacking. If you spend 2 seconds idle, which I believe this was 1.5 seconds originally, but again, this could, all of this is subject to change. The Frenzy overcomes you, consuming 1% of your health per stack, stunning you for 1 second, and of course it ends. Now, unless you get stunned in the process of doing this, as long as you're constantly clicking something, and from what I've seen as a druid, that's almost always 2 seconds. Even though it seems like such a long time, I guess that is kind of a thin window, because I know there's points that I feel like I have a full second of me going, okay, something better than that needs to come off cooldown. So if you know you're using this, this has a 3 minute cooldown. That may be where you're going to be using Maul even when you don't need to, or if you haven't even talented in a usefulness of Maul. But I could see where this would be very nice. That haste would be quite sexy, and smacking everything around a little bit, and that means more auto attacks, which means more Mauls. Could be useful. Alright, Draven. Damage taken below 40% health is reduced by 10%. Upon death, you leave a stone husk behind, which shatters after 3 seconds, inflicting 100% of your maximum health in damage split among nearby enemies, and healing for 100% of your maximum health split among nearby allies. To me, this one is the best tanking option of these 3, but I'm afraid it's out of pure having fun and doing something goofy, because I kind of see this being one of those druids have a large health pool. They always have, and I could see being near the end of a boss fight. You're close, you've almost got the boss down, and all of a sudden Deadly Boss Mods is yelling about enraging, and me going, hey guys, kill me. Let me die. We'll get a real large blast on the boss, as well as healing, which could affect your other tank. I just see this as kind of like a trump card of, we need that little bit more in this raid. Let's sacrifice the druid tank. I could see it, but I could see this being funny and fun, but like diabolically useful. So that's my fun thought of it. This is my funnest one I'm looking at. I do feel like Night Fae is the better option overall, but this one looks like a lot of fun. Alright, Wasteland priority. Frenzy signals the start of tea time, granting 10% versatility to you and 4% versatility to up to 4 nearby allies. This lasts for 30 seconds. As a Guardian Druid, I love versatility. I see this as a quick mitigation option, but since I don't get to keep that 10% versatility for a while, I think there's better options than this one. But if his conduits, his little options, appeal to you more, I don't see where this is going to hurt too awfully. And you get a versatility to other people, increases pretty much everything. Alright, the last of these, Mistblade. While in combat, you gain a stack of Thrill Seeker every 2 seconds, or 4 stacks on killing an enemy. At 40 stacks, Thrill Seeker is consumed to grant you Euphoria, increasing your haste by 20% for 10 seconds. Thrill Seeker decays rapidly while you are not in combat. I could see this being a good off-tank option. It gives you a little bit more damage throughout a fight. You don't have to worry about it being, over 75%, certain points. This right here just kind of keeps clicking throughout the fight. So let's take a look. So this is the Night Fae, and here is Corian, and this is the one that does the damage above 75% health is increased by 10%. The one that I feel like is a good start to get your threat. Now pretty much everything from the top one in between, not real big. Of course, you have your little personal options that you'll get once you open them up, but the main ones I want to look at are right here at the bottom. So on the right side of the very bottom, you get hold the line. After standing still for 5 seconds, you take 15% less physical damage until you move. This is very situational in my opinion, because it's not often that you get to stand still, 15-20 seconds. Where this says after standing still for 5 seconds, you take 50%, but as soon as you move, you lose this. There's just a select few bosses I think this right here would be of any use to. And of course, I move around a lot, just have something to do as a Guardian Druid, so this right here is not a good option for me. But if you find yourself in a lot of boss fights that you're just standing there, this could be an option, because 15% less physical damage is a lot. But the main one is face your foes. You're a tank. When in front of your target, you are always in front of your target as a tank. Your spells and abilities decrease the damage they inflict on you, your target, by 3% for 2 seconds. Now this doesn't seem like a lot, but all you're doing is smacking this mob, doing everything you can, just hitting this mob. I feel like overall, even though a lower number and not like tons of mitigation, I think this right here will make healers enjoy healing you more, because you're not going to just drop like a ton of bricks all the time. Now the other option, Venthyr, Draven, and that's of course the damage taken below 40% health is reduced by 10%, which is a very good mitigation. Upon death you leave a stone husk. This is where you blow up. Alright, again, same thing in the middle. These aren't real big. However, your equipment takes 3% less durability damage from death. This could save you a lot of money in the long run. The other option was your weapon takes less damage, durability damage. Alright, so now this one has built for war. While you are above 80% health, you gain 1% of pretty much every 30 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. If you fall below, it falls off. Not real big. Successfully interrupting an enemy. I feel like this is very good for like Mythic Plus. You enemy or dispelling an ally increase your critical strike chance by 10%. This may only occur. Now this is only a damage thing. I get that, but I could see that being a good one for dungeons. However, this is the one I really do like. Standing still for at least 4 seconds grants you 10% increased stamina and 4% increased healing done. Mentioned earlier, healing self automatically anyways, and of course increased stamina, increase your health pool. This effect persists for 6 seconds after you start moving. So after you stand for that 4 seconds, whenever, you know, that slam comes in, that hit, you gotta move, something's in your spot. You have 6 seconds to go sit somewhere else. And I say, so you have 6 seconds. If you look at realistic, if you're going to try to keep this up 100%, you have 2 seconds. That's not very long, but that's enough movement space, especially as a druid, that you can get in a spot and start your 4-second stand again and have that up most of a fight, at least as when it's needed. Alright, so that's my video on suggestions for a guardian druid. If you like these suggestions, or if you have better suggestions that you feel counter what I'm saying, please leave them in the comments, because I love to have any information I can on guardian druid and being able to tank as best I can. So if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, hit me with a like, and like I said, always hit that comment section. You guys take it easy.